Hey, it's Paige.
Hi, Paige. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. I have a terrible cold, so I sound awful, and I might sneeze. I'm just
That
telling you now.
that is a-okay. You sound fine. I promise.
Okay,
Well, yeah. Let's just jump right in.
good.
Got to see your film, What Haunts Us.
Oh,
Uh,
thanks.
Absolutely fascinated by it. What
Mm.
what inspired you to make this movie?
Well, I say this wherever I go. I was inspired to make this film because I love my little boy. And I realized that I had learned nothing from the past. I had not learned anything from my school because we didn't talk about it after it happened. It was sort of over. Court case happened, done. And my town didn't talk about it. My community didn't talk about it. My school didn't talk about it. And my friends didn't really talk about it. So when it was time, when I had a little boy, in 2006, I became a mom. I realized that I did not have the tools to protect him because no one had talked about this. So I thought maybe I should talk about it. And the first thing I needed to understand, because I couldn't get my head around it, was what had really happened at my school. Like, what really went down? How did it happen? So I started investigating, and what I discovered just sort of blew my mind.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because as you watch the documentary, What Haunts Us, hearing stories about people going, you've got these young guys hanging out with this teacher in kind of his own weird setting, and they're watching porn and drinking and doing all this stuff, and it's like, you definitely touch on the fact that people were pointing out that this is definitely not normal behavior,
Right.
but yet nobody really took a deeper look.
They didn't. And by the way, it's not an original story. I mean, it happens everywhere
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, it's happening now. It's still happening today. That things like this are happening. The teachers are having kids over to their house and they're drinking, and then worse things happen. So I still feel like it's such an important thing to be talking about because, like I said, we don't talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. Understandably, it's a terrible thing. But I think we'd like to, we prefer to believe that it just can't be true. So we tend to look the other way. I mean, all of us. And we can't really afford to do that because our children's lives are in our hands.
I could not agree more. And I mean, especially right now, kind of as you said, in a time where, we're having, like the Harvey Weinstein conversations and
Sure.
and all of these other people coming forward talking about, different things that had happened to them. Even watching this movie, thinking back into high school, I know there was an English teacher that used to be totally fine with you dropping off papers at his house, which
Right.
kind of seemed really weird. And I knew a couple
Right.
people that did it, but I never myself did it. And looking
Right.
back after watching this, it's like, well, God, I wonder if that was really on the up and up, or if it was
Right. I
something
mean,
should have paid
it's
attention.
interesting. Anytime I bring this up with anyone, people see the film, or even when I was about to make the film and I would go talk to different people, interview people, writers, editors, music people, anyone, we sit in a room and I tell them my idea, and every single one of them said, "Oh my God, I have a story to tell you." And it was either that it had happened to them, it had happened to someone they knew, or they all had the creepy teacher who would just had crossed the line. And so it's just really out there way more than we'd like to believe.
Well, do you think that's what it is about documentaries like this? I mean, right now, you have things like, obviously, The Keepers on Netflix and
Yeah.
and things like that are really, capturing people's attention and creating this conversation. Do you think that's what it is that makes people so, just focused on documentaries like this?
Yeah, I mean, documentaries are extraordinary because they give us glimpses into things that, real life that we have most of us have no access to. So a social justice documentary like this, it really makes us open our eyes and pay attention. And that's something that I always say, like, keep your eyes open, keep your mouth open, be the squeaky wheel, always be the person in your school, your kid's school who's talking about this. If a film like this can let us shine a light on how it goes down, then great. Then parents can say, like, "Oh my God, I never thought that could have happened in my kid's school, but maybe it can." So I'm going to march in tomorrow, and I'm going to ask a few questions, and I'm going to talk to my kid tonight when I pick him up from school. We're going to have this conversation about keeping yourself safe, and yeah, I think that if we can, all see things like this, then we can have more power. We can have more information, and that gives us more power over this. It helps us make it stop.
No, I think that's absolutely fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
what is the, I guess, reception like from back home, obviously, after a film like this comes out?
Well, there are two different sort of camps. There are many people who are just so happy that we're bringing this to light. I think once the Charleston community sees the film, which they haven't, I think they'll be very surprised because I learned so much from doing my research. I mean, I didn't know half the things that are in my film, and so I think a lot of people will also go, "Oh my God, I didn't know that happened." So a lot of people are very happy that we're talking about this because they believe it's the only way that we can stop it, we can prevent it. And a lot of people are very angry at me for bringing it up. I mean, how dare you bring this up again? We worked so hard to put it away. It didn't happen to you. So who do you think you are?
That's so funny that that's the response that people would give you to shining a light on something that was awful for so many people.
Yes, but the truth is a lot of people are in a lot of pain. I mean, either it happened to them or it happened to someone they cared about, or, many of us lost our friends. I mean, our friends died from this, because we didn't talk about it and embrace it. So the notion of talking about it is terrifying. So I do have to honor and respect people when they don't want to talk about it because that's their prerogative. And again, I think people are in a lot of pain. So I was hoping to sort of alleviate some of that by making the film, talking about it and releasing some of that pressure and tension. I think it will do that, but I do think many people won't ever see it. They won't ever want to go near it in Charleston.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely parts of it where when you're hearing the stories from obviously some of the victims that this happened to, that it's tough to watch and it's tough to hear, but I mean, I think it's important that people actually pay attention and hear what these people have to say.
It is. And, it's interesting because I've seen all those great movies out there on the topic. I mean, some of the most extraordinary filmmakers, documentary filmmakers out there have made movies on the topic of child sex abuse. And they are amazing films. But I knew that many of them felt like horror stories to me. And I knew that I had to make the kind of movie that I could sit through as a mom. So I chose not to make it like that, only because I want people to be able to sort of digest this information and sit through it and sort of take the journey with me. So I felt like it was a little different than that. So I'm hoping people can do that, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Now, this is your first film, correct?
It is.
Right, so what was it like? I mean, at what point did you decide? I really want to make an actual film about this. What is it like going and digging up all of this information and asking people to do interviews? What was that whole process like for you?
Oh my God, it was terrifying for me. It took me about 5 years, maybe a little bit more, to make this film. And I think it's because it is so personal. It is about my people I love. And I was just nervous. I mean, I didn't even know what to do. I was like, first of all, I just started finding out the information for myself because, like I said, I wanted to protect my kid. And then I was learning so much information. I thought, God, I should kind of document this. So I started taking notes. I started making, my own sort of videotapes on my computer, conversations I was having. I just sort of dove into it, but it did take me at least a good 2 years, really just to gain the trust of the people who I wanted to be in the film. I wanted to make sure that they knew I was coming at it from a good place. I wanted to help them heal, possibly, and help our community heal. So it took a really long time for them to trust me, and I knew that going in. So there were many conversations, many hours spent together physically and just on the phone, going back to Charleston, just to make sure people like Gary and Carlos knew where I was coming from. So I think after about 2 years, I was ready. I was ready to do my first interviews and dive right in.
Well, I think you've done a wonderful job on the film, and I mean, even the way that you've put everything together, I like that, you've kind of interspersed it with not just the interviews from the actual people that were there, but, bringing out the photos and bringing out even, kind of animation to recreate some of these scenes. I honestly felt like kind of the animation almost took some of the edge off of what inside you're kind of dreading where some of these scenes are going, and
yes,
it makes it easier to kind of take in.
Exactly, and it's such beautiful animation by my friend David Navas, who's in Spain, who is just an extraordinary artist. And I knew that if we could again, I also didn't have footage for obviously these memories of these past things, so I knew that we had to convey it in a different way. And I knew, again, that we had to help people get through it. I mean, nobody wants to see a documentary about this, so you have to make it digestible for them. And and beautiful. It had to feel like a beautiful movie.
And you've definitely done that here. I 100% believe.
Thank you.
Now, after undergoing this project, do you have plans of continuing on and making other films?
Oh my God! You know what? Now that I'm in this, and now I feel like I know how to make a documentary. I'm like, there's so many issues that need my attention. So there's so many things I want to talk about. Yes and no. I also have a little boy, and I just kind of want to. I've been steeped in this for so long. I really just want to be his mom for now, and we'll see. We'll see. Maybe my husband and I'll make some more films together. We'll see. It was amazing working with them.
Well, like I said, we really enjoyed the film. You've got a very interesting and solid movie that you created here, and you should definitely be very proud of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to kind of end with what advice would you have for other victims of abuse out there after spending so much time working on this project and growing up with this?
Oh God, far be it from me to give advice to survivors of this. Listen, everybody handles it in their own way, and you are not alone. There's so many people out there who are suffering in silence, and so many people out there who would hold your hand. So that's all I can say. I mean, everybody handles it in their own way, and I totally honor that.
Absolutely. Well, Paige, thank you so much. What Haunts Us? Excellent documentary, and we definitely recommend you guys get out there and check this one out.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm so sorry I'm coughing in your face, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paige. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Not the coughing, the interview was good.
Thanks. Bye.